Hello, and welcome to Auto Be Careful, the place for car safety, news, and information. I'm Gene, and today we're going to talk about a major change in global safety policy that could result in European cars coming to the US and US cars being sold in Europe. On August 21st, 2025, the United States and the European Union issued a joint statement regarding a framework that had been negotiated between them regarding tariff policy. The framework's pretty complex, but one line has sparked a lot of speculation and excitement from the automotive industry. This line reads, "With respect to automobiles, the United States and the European Union intend to accept and provide mutual recognition to each other's standards." This has caused theories that there may be mutual acceptance of each other's safety and emission standards, which could result in automakers having an easier time creating automobiles that can be sold in either market. With this in mind, let's take a look at what standards exist in the United States and how they differ from those in Europe. First, let's talk about the safety standards that exist here in the United States. There's way too much to cover in a short video, but I want to highlight a few key aspects. You may already be familiar with these if you've seen some of my past videos, but if not, I'll link those videos in the description below. The United States regulates bumpers on every vehicle, including setting a standard height to ensure that when two vehicles collide, they're able to use the entire crumple zone of each vehicle. The United States also requires reporting on collision data for vehicles with automated driver assist systems, or ADAS, like adaptive cruise control, lane centering, or self-driving. There are many other regulations in the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, or FMVSS, like rules on lights, as well as driver alerts. Now let's talk about vehicle crash testing in the United States. The regulatory body for safety in the US is the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA. This administration performs 4 crash tests on the most popular vehicles sold here in the United States. These crash tests are done with crash test dummies here inside the vehicle to evaluate the effects of the collision on the vehicle's occupants. The first is the frontal crash test, which is designed to simulate a head-on collision with another vehicle. For this, the vehicle is driven at 35 miles an hour head-on into a fixed barrier. Next is the side impact test. This simulates another vehicle crashing into the side of the vehicle and is done by slamming a large barrier into the side of the test vehicle at 38.5 miles an hour. The side pole test is done to simulate the loss of control of a vehicle, resulting in a side impact into a pole. This is done by pulling the vehicle sideways into a pole at 20 miles an hour. Finally, the rollover resistance test tests how likely the vehicle is to roll over onto its roof. Finally, let's talk about United States emissions standards. These are enforced by the Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA. These standards essentially classify vehicles into bins indicating how much they pollute. The bins have evolved over time, becoming stricter, so vehicles have to meet a higher standard than they did 10 years ago. There are currently 7 bins, with the bin numbers indicating how much the vehicle pollutes. Every vehicle sold in the United States comes with a sticker under the hood that indicates what year of the standard the vehicle complies with and which bin it falls into. Now let's discuss European safety standards. Like the United States with the FMVSS, Europe has a framework for safety regulations under the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, or UNECE. This commission covers both vehicle safety and vehicle emissions. Once again, there are far too many regulations to discuss in such a short video, but they cover many of the same components. For example, the UNECE also regulates bumpers, but they have slightly different standards. The United States regulates bumper height by setting a minimum and maximum height off the ground in inches. In Europe, they regulate bumper height using a measurement called the lower bumper reference line. This determines the lowest point of the bumper that would contact a pedestrian's leg. The UNECE also requires manufacturers to make ADAS collision data available for review, but it also requires manufacturers to have a cybersecurity management system for driver assistance systems. The UNECE has different specifications for the color of lights. It also has different requirements for driver alerts, including requiring driver fatigue to be monitored for driver assistance systems, which the US does not require. Now let's talk about crash testing in Europe. Europe uses some similar tests as those in the United States, but tends to do them at the same or slower speeds. For example, the front impact test is done at 31 miles an hour instead of 35 miles an hour, and the side impact test is done at 37 miles an hour instead of 38.5 miles an hour. Additionally, they have not done rollover testing, although this is changing for 2026. Europe also does at least 5 additional tests to protect pedestrians and others outside the vehicle. These include head impact tests, pelvic impact tests, lower leg impact tests, and automatic emergency braking tests for pedestrians and cyclists. They also test additional systems like fatigue monitors, which again, the United States does not even require. Now let's talk about European emission standards. Like the US, Europe regulates many of the same vehicle emissions, with standards becoming stricter over time. The newest standard, called Euro 7, actually goes quite a bit further than the US by regulating battery durability for electric and hybrid vehicles like this one, as well as non-exhaust emissions like brake dust and tire particles. So that's a look at some of the differences between the United States and European safety and emission standards. While some of these regulations are fairly similar, others are miles or kilometers apart. This change will require a lot more detail than a single sentence in a joint statement can handle, but hopefully it puts both these markets on a path to have a set standard that makes it easier for auto manufacturers to produce vehicles for customers in either part of the world. As always, thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the like button below and subscribe to see more content like this.